Well, hey everybody. Welcome to the update preview stream. This is Bugs here. I'm joined today by Artemis and Miss D, that's me. Now you might be saying, Miss D, that's who? Who the hell is Miss D? Well, welcome to being as confused as I am for the next week or two because Shadow has officially transitioned her identity into Misty, that's me. She had two of them for a while. We're combining the identities into one for ease of use, although for the first couple weeks it's going to be confusing as fuck because I'm going to be saying Shadow and it's actually Misty, that's me. They're the same person. So if you have questions in chat, please do focus them at Misty underscore that's me instead of Shadow underscore Rustafied in chat. Oh my God. Yeah, it's a little confusing, but we'll get there. We'll get there. But anyway, say hi, guys.
Hi guys.
Wait,
And yeah,
hi.
it will be a little weird.
And we'll get there. We'll get there. I'm totally going to be saying shadow for months, but it's fine. In chat, if you have questions, do at Misty underscore that's me. We'll get to as many questions as we have the opportunity to. Now, as always, what we're going to do is go through what is going on in Rust development. And given we're 1 week from the big update, and it's a big one for February, we're going to go through everything that you as a player need to know about what's coming next week. Now, before we get into it, as always, when is WIPS? Well, Rustafied server wipes. It's the weekly Thursday wipe servers wiping today. And that's your mains, your smalls, your barons, your Zen labs, and in EU, EUS. And the servers are wiping at their regularly scheduled time for the region, which, if you missed it, we did change from 5 p.m. local time to 3 p.m. local time earlier this month. With the change of the year, we did move the wipe times up 2 hours earlier just to maximize gameplay time on wipe day. So that means EU servers wiped 3 hours ago. US servers will wipe in 2 hours at 3 p.m. EST. And AU and SEA wiped like 11, 12 hours ago, even more like 14 hours ago, if I really think about it, a while ago, because they live in the future. That's how that works. And we've got 1 week until the big update comes out, February 2nd, 1 week from today at 2 p.m. EST, 7 p.m. GMT is the estimated launch time. And when this update comes out, it'll not only force a wipe, but it looks like this industrial system is going to be going live with the update next week. So, as you would imagine, the team is doing a bunch of work on this industrial system. And we've got some examples to show you some uh, things to give you a sense of what this industrial system is. If you've been living under a rock for the past couple weeks and you're not aware, the industrial system is the addition of a couple new items in the game that, when combined with existing items in the game, allow players and groups to automate things in their base that they've never been able to automate before, such as the automatic organization of boxes and items, the automatic smelting of resources, and automate the process of crafting certain resources and objects as well. And that's the whole industrial system. And it's quite a game changer. It is really going to be interesting to see what the various groups and players on the servers do with this, because I feel still like the functionality, we're just kind of scratching the surface of what is available through this industrial stuff. So, with that industrial stuff, what we have seen this week is not only the industrial branch get merged into main and then move to the main staging branch. So, it was on aux 2 for a while, which is where the bleeding edge of development happens and the first initial public testing can take place. And then, as the functionality is getting ready to actually go live into the game, it gets merged onto normal staging and the main branch for a broader testing. And that's where we're at now. We're on the main staging branch, and all the industrial stuff is here. Now, in the past week, a couple things have been done. Mainly, the team is working on finishing touches, fixes, and quality of life things for this industrial branch. So we saw sounds get added for the industrial crafter, the conveyor, the electric furnace, and the pipe tool. We also saw low grade is now researchable in the repair bench to use for the auto crafter. And that's an interesting one because if you think about it, if you want to craft certain default blueprints, well, previously you couldn't get that blueprint because it's just a default blueprint. There was no need for a blueprint object in the game. But they have changed it so blueprints like uh, like low grade and, for instance, also gunpowder can now be actually researched in the research bench, so you can get a physical blueprint object and then use that in the autocrafter to say, craft low grade automatically or craft gunpowder automatically. So they also added it so you can store the pipe tool in the tool cupboard storage, which is cool. They added on off inputs to the electric furnace so you can kind of control when the electric furnace is on or off with other electrical items. And they changed some stuff with the piping and how the pipes can move through certain things and the placement of pipes. Now, the real big change to pipes in the past 2 weeks since we have seen the initial version of Industrial go live on aux 2 is that originally the pipes, like hoses and electrical things, could be brought through walls easily. And so you could pipe through multiple walls, no problem. And the other week they did change that. And so you can no longer pipe through walls and you can only pipe through windows or closed doors. So, and you can see some examples of that. We got some pipes running through windows here and things like that. So, for anyone, when they saw this initially hit aux 2 and said, oh my God, people are just going to be like just walling off and armor walling off all their loot, and there's going to be no doors, there's just going to be the pipes, it's going to be a disaster. Well, hopefully this satisfies some of the concerns because you can't just willy-nilly put it through any wall. You have to put it through a door or through a window. Now, also, we saw some tweaks to the crafting cost of things and the workbench level, and we saw the addition of this industrial stuff into the tech tree. So I did update the article from earlier in the month on Rustafied.com, the industrial system overview article. That's kind of acting as our go-to overview of what the industrial system is. And I did update with the new crafting costs and various other things that were tweaked. So you can check that out on Rustafied.com. There is a link on my article today to that, or you can just go back. It's 3 articles ago, basically. So you can just scroll down to the bottom and click older, and you'll see it. But some of the changes to crafting we saw is the industrial crafter now costs 3 high quality metal and 2 tech trash. It was just 1 tech trash. We also see the electric furnace is 5 high quality metal, 300 metal frags, and 1 tech trash now. And it is a workbench level 2 required now. It previously wasn't the case. And the pipe tool is still the same, 2 high quality metal. The storage adapter, I think, got tweaked a little bit, 100 metal frags and 1 tech trash to craft a storage adapter. And workbench level 1 is required for that. And then the splitter and the combiner is still the same, 75 metal frags. And yeah, I think that kind of summarizes what overall changes we saw. And there's been a number of other tweaks and modifications. And I imagine over the next week, we're going to see a continuation of that prior to all this stuff going live with the update next week. And even furthermore, I imagine that this is going to be an update where the Friday after it goes live and the Saturday and maybe even the Monday, we're going to see some hot fixes. We're going to see some optional patches go live to both the client and the server because inevitably, once this thing gets into the wild, there's so many different dynamics of it. They're going to see some glitches or tweaks or things that need to be modified. So I imagine after next week, when the big update comes live, we'll probably see a couple hot fixes and patches in the following couple days. And that's not uncommon for a new large functionality coming to the game. Now, I will go through some other examples that we have here of the industrial system. And if you have questions specifically about the industrial system, once again, do at Misty underscore that's me in chat, and we'll get to as many questions as we can. Before any more on the industrial system, though, I want to touch on another couple things going on in development. First and foremost, there's a new flying vehicle afoot being worked on. It's called the Attack Helicopter, and it's going to be a player controlled flying vehicle from the looks of it, and it will have some form of weaponry. It'll have some form of offensive capability, it does seem. The other interesting thing is instead of wheels, it looks like it's going to have skis. So the sense is it's going to be some kind of ski uh, clad mini copter that's a little beefed up and has some sort of weaponry. So that's the story so far. We don't have any visuals, don't have any more specifics about this as it's all existing on its own branch and not available for testing yet. And the devs haven't really released any information. I highly doubt this is going to go live with the update next week, but we will nevertheless keep you posted as we get visuals and more information on this new flying vehicle, the attack helicopter. And then maybe when it's going to go live in, say, March or April, we'll have a whole article about it and how you can find it and what it does. Also, there's a number of miscellaneous fixes going live with the update next week. This is just par for the course, a number of just normal fixes, quality of life things like updated the deploy effect for the trophy to better match the visual material. They added some colliders on power line tarps to prevent dropped items being hidden. They added a filter on quarry fuel storage to only accept diesel and fix some small sign deployment issues when they weren't working on walls. Miscellaneous stuff like that. Fix the fireplace cooking speed, various things. If you want a full list of all the fixes that they have worked on, as always, you can go to rustafied.com, and my article today does cover in depth a list of all the changes. And then, of course, there's other stuff being worked on in development. There is a redesign to the compound in progress. It's going to have some cobblestone roads, and it's also probably going to fix some of these various issues, collider issues, and stuff like that that came about in compound over the past year. There's also a new weapon rack in the works, or just weapon racks, I should say. That's been worked on for a couple months now. It started with the Hack Week last year, and it looks like the weapon racks are going to make it into the game at some point. I don't think necessarily next week, but it does definitely seem like it is on track to be entered into the game at some point. And you might be saying, weapon, who cares about a weapon rack? But it is, I think, going to be pretty cool because it's going to visually display the weapons in the rack. And if you want to pick one up, you don't have to go into a UI or anything like that. You just point, look at the weapon, and you'll be able to click and pick it up based on the commits. I should say this is all subject to change. And then also, if you want to put a weapon in the rack, you can just kind of drop it and toss it in the general direction of the rack, and the rack will like suck it up and have it. So that's going to be pretty cool, and we're excited to see what that's going to entail. It might be a small, medium, and large weapon rack. There were some commits early on that indicated multiple sizes, but it remains to be seen. We'll let you know as that gets merged in and we have more information. There's also some tweaks to pistol animations going on a separate branch. I don't think it's going to be anything that people really super notice, but we'll see. And then there's more work on multi threaded networking. And this is a note for server owners for the update next week because there's some things fundamentally changing in networking on the server side that you as a server owner are going to have to take care of. And this, as a server owner over here, I start sweating when this shit happens because when they're changing networking, this is when performance can go from good to absolutely abysmal. There's so many issues that can happen when they change the networking. I know it is a necessary thing. They're moving from RackNet, which is like a depreciated old networking system. They're moving to the new Steam networking. And part of that, the initial phase of that, is going to this multi threaded networking where basically it should ideally optimize performance because it can use multiple threads of the CPU core to process all the things that it needs to do with the networking. And that's a big potential change, but hopefully it doesn't fuck everything over and cause performance on the servers to go to shit or have an issue where like Steam coughs and then everyone gets disconnected from the server. Because I'll let you know, when they were testing some of these changes with networking, we did have some issues like that. So fingers crossed as a server owner that when this multi-threaded networking goes live next week, it is solid and production ready, because otherwise it's going to be a fucking nightmare. But I'm intending it's all perfect, it's all beautiful. And with that, if you are a server owner, do check out rustified.com and scroll down to the bottom server owner's note on my article today, because you basically have to ensure that your dedicated game port and query port are set. And previously that didn't matter. But with this change, if you don't set that query port, and they can't be the same port, they got to be different, So if you don't change that and you just run the update next week and you're a server owner, people aren't going to connect. So do take note of that. Know as a server owner, you're going to have to change some stuff. Also, Alistair did say this could change between now and next week. So know that if we get any information from Alistair, if it changes, then we'll update rustified.com and I'll make sure to change it with any pertinent information. So that's just a note for server owners and the multi-threaded networking stuff going on next week. Now, I do want to take an opportunity to just show off a little bit of this industrial stuff. We did do a couple examples taking into account the recent changes to the industrial system. So, Artemis, I'd love if you just showed off a couple of these examples that we have here. And then as you guys watch and have any questions or anything, once again, feel free to do at Misty underscore that's me in chat with your question, and we'll get to as many as we have the opportunity to. So, Artemis, take it away.
Yeah, no problem at all. So what we have here is pretty much the same setup that we had last week with the furnaces, except of course no passing through walls and things. So we've used the window. As you can see, you can place a window as well once you've put the pipes through, but that doesn't work the same with walls and doors, I'm afraid, just the windows. So yeah, basically some of the furnaces are being fed from these boxes here, and then they're also putting out into other boxes as well, so easier farming and not having to sort all the boxes. Here we've got Auto Crafter. I got it set for meds again this week. So again, you can fill up one box with resources. It will craft the item that you put in here for the BP, and then you can you're left with all the meds. If I chuck some out, you can see it will put some more in. And this setup here was pretty much again what we showed last week as a good example, which is you could have a load of unorganized boxes, and as you can see here, the pipes are kind of run the whole way around the base. So when you get near to the front door, you could have a switch the switch and give yourself a kit. No sorting boxes needed. Yeah, and
Yeah, that's pretty nuts.
That's it, and that's pretty much the three that we got set up right now.
Cool. Thank you, Artemis, for that brief demonstration. And yeah, that's just a couple pretty basic examples of what you can do. And you can imagine the people who are really into like Factorio and or just really into creating electronics in Rust already, the sky's the limit with this. I mean, you can really set up conveyors and systems and autocrafters and the electric furnaces in a way where you can literally just have your base drop off resources in one place and then run it through and craft all the things, smelt all the things automatically, craft all the things automatically. And then on the other end, you can just have a locker that's filled up with your gear automatically. And all you have to do is drop the raw resources in your base. Now, of course, that's a complex example, and it's going to take a lot of resources and time to set up something like that, especially on a vanilla server. But it is cool to know it's possible now. So it's going to be really interesting once again to see what players and groups do with this stuff, if it's utilized a lot, if only large groups use it. And I'm curious to see how people really geek out with it and what kind of extremes people go to. And once again, hoping this doesn't negatively impact performance, because we have seen some things with, like, for instance, water catchers in the past, too many piped together and stuff like that, used to have a negative impact on server performance. So I am hoping and fingers crossed that performance is going to hold up with this going into production. But it is a really cool system to see go live, and excited to see how it goes forward. Now, Dee, do we have any questions from the audience?
Yes, we do. And I first want to say that we got a raid in the beginning of the stream from Bailey_games. Thank you for that.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and is it a force wipe today?
It is not a force wipe today. The force wipe is actually 1 week from today, February 2nd at 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. GMT. And what you can do every month, if you're interested and you want to know what the forced wipe is going to be, it's literally the first Thursday of every month. So that can sometimes be on the 2nd, it can sometimes be on the 5th or the 7th. But just look at the calendar of the month, look at that first Thursday, and you can bet that 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. GMT is when that force wipe is going to happen. And shout out to Facepunch because for years now, they've been really on top of launching those updates right on time. It used to not be the case. I've been tracking development now for the better part of 10 years, and it used to be just like the Wild West and just whenever they were ready. But it is really nice that they're sticking to a consistent update time. So yeah, that's 1 week from today is the force wipe, and in the meantime, we just got the weekly Thursday wipe servers wiping today.
Did you try to place the pipes and then wall above it?
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't matter. You still can't place the wall over them.
Yeah, because the pipe actually, they originally the pipe didn't take up any collider space, and then basically what they did is they added a very small collider to the pipe structure so that you can't build on top of it. It'll block building and stuff like that, and really you can only kind of get it through either windows or doors.
In regards to piping, if you place a pipe down, can you place a wall on top of it, or will it have to disconnect the pipe first?
Yeah, kind of same thing, I believe. You can't really place
Yeah.
a wall on top of the pipe because otherwise, if you think about it, then you'd just be running pipes through the wall and the whole change they did would be useless. So no, you can't place the pipe first and then build on it. That would essentially be the same thing.
Can you show us the craft cost?
Sure. And you can also see the crafting cost of all this stuff on rustified.com. If you scroll down and then look for the link under industrial system next week, there's an industrial system overview article that I did earlier in the month, and that does have updated crafting costs. But yeah, here we can quickly show off kind of some of the industrial stuff and run through the crafting costs of it. For instance, and I'll just scroll up to my article, the conveyor is going to be 150 metal frags. And the conveyor, of course, is the thing that it's kind of the engine that moves everything around. So you'll need a conveyor hooked up to the box adapter, between the box adapter of your resources and the electric furnace, for instance, to convey or move the resources into the furnace. And that, once again, is 150 metal frags, level 1 workbench. Then the industrial crafter is 3 high quality metal, 2 tech trash, and level 2 workbench. The electric furnace is 5 high quality metal, 300 metal frags, and 1 tech trash to craft. Level 2 workbench required. The pipe tool, default blueprint, 2 high quality metal, level 0 workbench. And the storage adapter is 100 metal frags and 1 tech trash. And the storage adapter is the thing that goes on either your furnace or your boxes or your tool cupboard or your fridge. And it is basically the adapter, well, hence the name, between the normal stuff that's been in the game and the new industrial stuff and the pipes. And then finally, there's the industrial splitter and combiner, and those are both 75 metal frags, level 1 workbench to craft.
When is Face Punch adding, is it called bowel movements plus toilets? Been wanting that forever now. Very important.
Yeah, I mean, very important. And then think about all the, composting and the integration into the planting and farming stuff that you could do with that. But no, no word on bowel movements, even though there are some toilets in the game and stuff. No word on bowel movements at the moment. I'm personally still waiting. The whole game is developed by a development studio called Face Punch. Why the fuck can't I punch someone in the face yet? I don't know. That's just my thing.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about like why don't this exist yet, I want to be able to punch someone in the face or at least smack them with a trout, like old school IRC. But anyway, I digress. Next question.
And it is Face Punch, right? So,
Yeah, it is Face Punch. I should be able to
yeah.
punch someone in the face, right? I don't know.
Okay, let me see next. Will they be adding another tool slot to the TC for the new wrench?
I think that would make sense. I don't know if that is planned. They did adjust the pipe tool to be able to fit in the tool slot in the cupboard, but I don't think they increased the number of slots there. But I do think it would make sense to add 1 or 2 more slots to be able to, house all your tools there. But we'll see.
When is all this coming into the game?
Ooh, next week, man. February 2nd is the forced wipe. And that is when not only will there be a forced map wipe, and for most of Rustified servers, we will have a blueprint wipe as well, because we do wipe blueprints every month with the first Thursday update, with the exception of our EU and US Medium 3 servers, which only wipe blueprints when forced. But yeah, this industrial system is coming 1 week from today on that February 2nd update. And expect that around 2 p.m. Eastern. 7 p.m. GMT. And of course, we're going to be here at 1 p.m. Eastern, as we always are, for an update stream to show off everything that you need to know as a player that's coming in the game, and then let you know exactly when the update goes live.
How do you know when the required items are out of stock?
Oh, for like the crafter,
Yeah.
does it
Y-
pop a red thing or anything?
It doesn't, no, not by default, but what you do have are you can set up the outputs for a fail. So you got filter pass and filter fail, for example. So you could put a light on for the pass or the fail or both, if they were different colours, and then it would display if it failed, then maybe the light would light up, or you could have it so that it showed one every time it passed and then showed a red light when it failed.
Yeah. So not by default, but you could, with the electricity and everything, set up a alert system for that.
Yeah, completely.
Are you able to connect them to planters?
No, there's no tie-in to any of this industrial stuff with planters at the moment.
Are the tubes vulnerable to eco grievers?
No, the pipes themselves, last we checked, cannot be hatcheted or destroyed. Is that still the
Nothing.
case?
Yeah, it seems like it's.
Okay. So yeah, you can run pipes outside your base or anything like that, and as it stands now, you don't have to worry about people coming through and like cutting a pipe off, so to speak.
No, not at the moment.
Did the electric furnace really cost 500 scrap to research?
It did, yeah.
Yeah.
And can you replace doors if it's going through them?
Yeah, you can still place doors with pipes running through them. I don't think that's any problem with door placement. And in fact, last week there was a great quality of life thing that also said you can place doors even if certain deployables are in the way. So no more having to get rid of boxes and stuff. It just kind of easily goes through.
Is this a default blueprint?
What are we talking about?
I think all of it, but no, it's not default.
No, most of them aren't. In fact, I realized on my industrial overview, originally the electric furnace was a default, but now it's not. Now it's 500 scrap to research.
How does that change the electricity factor of the crafter? Lights for pass fail.
Mm, I don't think much.
Say
Artemis,
that
do you have
again.
a thought on that?
What was that? Sorry, repeat the question.
How does that change the electricity factor of the crafter? Lights for pass fail.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It's not on the crafter actually. There are no fails. It's for the conveyor. So yeah, it looks they look to be outputting anyway. So it should. I don't think it will affect them directly. You could always have them. Yeah, I don't think they're because their usage is only one, so they would only use more if you connect anything else. For example,
Yeah.
3 max if you had all of them done.
Does the pipe system work with placeable quarries and pumps?
It doesn't work with quarries, and let me double check. It works with small oil refinery, but that is it. So basically, how to hook this stuff up, you need a storage adapter. So say you have an object in the game like a furnace or a box. In order to pipe in any of this industrial stuff, you need to attach a storage adapter. And the storage adapter is 75 scrap to research, 100 metal frags, and 1 tech trash to craft. And you got to put that storage adapter on one of these deployables, and then you can pipe stuff either in or out of it. And now, currently, last we checked, what will take a storage adapter is the large wood box, the wood storage box, so the small box, a normal furnace, a large furnace, an electric furnace, the tool cupboard, drop box, fridge, locker, vending machine, small oil refinery, and coffin. So last we checked, those are the deployable objects that will accept a adapter. And so said another way, those are the deployable objects that can be tied in with the industrial system, if that makes sense.
Just going through the rest. Can I hit with this tool and how much damage?
No,
Uh
not at
no.
all. Can't even
Yeah,
swing it.
none. Yeah, it's really just for laying pipe, so to speak.
Uh, Can you pass pipes through roof bunkers?
Nope, you can't.
Yeah, no. And now I also want to say I'm sure people will figure out some tricky way to
Oh yeah.
maybe do something that the devs didn't expect, and then they're going to have to hot fix it and, get rid of it. But as per the intended design of this, basically the pipes only go through doors or windows. They don't go through roofs, floors, walls, etc.
When is the solo server only?
That's a good question. As it stands now, we have no immediate plans to launch a solo server. Where we're at is we have a couple of the trio servers, and we feel like that's a good solution for people looking for small groups. I know if you're solo going up against a trio, it's not ideal, but that's really what we're focusing on now as far as small group gameplay is concerned. It's just focusing on the trios. So, although anything's possible in the future as far as the solo server is concerned, as it stands now, we have no immediate plans to do a solo server.
Can you cover a wall with pipes to be used as defense?
Not at all.
No,
No.
no, the pipes might as well not exist as far as colliders or anything are concerned. They're purely visual. They do, of course, feed items through, as a utility. But when you're looking at it from a raid standpoint or anything, they basically might as well not exist as it stands now. You can walk through them. They have no like. Well, they do have a bit of a collider now, don't they?
No, they
Um,
don't. No, it's just
oh
the
no, they don't.
this is just the conveyor that you can see me stepping over, but
Oh,
the
gotcha.
the
Okay.
pipe it doesn't.
Yeah, yeah.
When will the next Twitch traps be there?
That's a good question as well. I don't know. Face Punch controls all the Twitch drops, and it's a common misconception, but we're not part of Face Punch. We're not developers of the game. We're just independent fans of the game, like you, who love reporting on development news and running the best servers that we can. So yeah, I don't really have any control or knowledge of when the next Twitch drops are. There's been no announcements of it. The last ones, of course, were just the other week with Trust and Rust. So I imagine it's probably going to be another month or so until we see the Twitch drops. The last I heard, schedule wise, and they don't 100% stick to this, but I believe it was every other month was kind of the rough schedule for doing Twitch drops.
How much does the new furnace take to power?
It's 100 rust watts to power the new electric furnace. And based on our
Uh,
testing,
Sorry,
oh,
it's one. Just
is it
one
one
at
now?
the minute. Yep.
Oh, shit.
It's still only taking one as well. I'm not sure if it should be 100, but
I could have sworn we tested it, it was 100. Okay. It's one at the moment.
it
I don't
is.
think
Yeah.
that's gonna stay. That doesn't make sense, does it?
Much.
Yeah. I believe the intention was to have it be 100, but eh, we are still a week out from the stuff going live, and it is actively still in development and changing. So realistically, take anything we're saying or showing you here today with a grain of salt, because it could all be flipped on its head. Shit, they might not launch this industrial stuff next week, for all I know. But it does look like all things are moving forward and they are going to be launching this. But I do expect some tweaks and changes between now and next week. So let's wait until next week, and we'll ideally have some more finalized stuff for you on that.
Yeah, it doesn't have a pass through, although they would have put it to the battery so we could see definitively. Yeah, but for now I'm pretty sure it is because we've just got the 49.
Cool.
Can you connect pipes to auto turrets to auto refill ammo?
Nope.
Not yet, but that would make sense, right? If they add the adapter functionality to any other deployable in the game, I would think auto turrets would make. Now, the interesting thing with auto turrets is they are working on a remote control drone. Now, this is a separate branch, not coming next week, but it is a project outstanding where they're working on this remote control drone that basically will be an extension. The the auto turret laser will actually act as a crosshair for the drone, and you'll be able to, it looks like, control where your auto turrets are firing and control the fire of those auto turrets manually with a drone. So that's going to be interesting. Once again, still separate branch, but we'll keep you posted on that.
What is the purpose? What is the purpose of these pipes?
The pipes are basically just the go between for the industrial stuff. And so it's basically to move items in the game from one place to another. You can think about it similar to how the electrical wire tool moves electricity from one place to another, or the hose moves water from one place to another. But this is just moving actual resources and items in the game, say from a box to the tool cupboard, for instance. So easy thing is if you wanted to automatically refill your tool cupboard with resources, you could hook a box, a large wood box up, add an adapter to it, then run a pipe from the adapter to a conveyor, then from the conveyor to the adapter on the tool cupboard, and then you could basically just place resources in the large wood box and have it run into the tool cupboard, if that makes sense. So that's what the pipes are really for, just moving those items around.
Do you guys actually play or just server owners slash mods?
We do play. I'll be honest, I haven't played in a while. I was thinking about getting back in with this industrial stuff and playing another wipe. But given I've been tracking development of this game for like 10 years, I don't play all the time because, burnout on a game. But we are avid players of the game and big fans of the game. So
Yeah, I used to play a lot also, but not as much as I have been.
Yeah, really enjoy playing the game, like most of us.
Can you color the pipes like the wires?
oh yeah, you can. That's another, thank you for asking that question, because that is something that wasn't originally there, but you can, by with the pipe tool selected, hold R, and you can have, what is it, 4 different colors of pipes?
It is, yep.
Yeah, nice.
Can you also use all that in caves?
Yeah, there's no restriction as long as you're in a build area.
Yeah, yeah, as long as you're building a base in a cave, yeah.
Let's do a recap and then take more questions after.
All right, cool. So we are 1 week out from the update. And as always, if you have questions, ask at Miss D underscore that's me in chat. Now you might be like, what? As always, that's not the name we normally ask. Well, just once again, a quick reminder, Shadow has transitioned her identity into Miss D underscore that's me. So it's the same old Shadow we know and love, but going by D now. So if you have questions, ask her in chat. But let's run through it. We are 1 week from the big update. The industrial update is set to come out next week on February 2nd at 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. GMT. And boy, is this industrial system a game changer. It allows people to automate tasks in their bases, such as the organization and storage of items, such as the crafting of new items, and also automate the smelting with the electric furnace or other furnaces of whatever you want. So it's really, yeah, once again, a game changer. If you're interested in what specific new items come with the industrial system and what they do, we do have an updated article on rustified.com called Industrial System Overview. There is a link right on the top section of my article today to that, or you can just scroll down to the bottom and click older, and you'll go right to that industrial system overview. But I did update that with updated crafting costs and information as this is all developed and progressed over the month. So definitely go check that out if you want a detail of every new item in the industrial system. But basically, it's like five or so new items like the electric furnace, the conveyor, the adapter, the storage adapters, and the auto crafter. All these items basically then work through, pipes and adapters with the old items in the game like furnaces, large wood storage, tool cupboards, etc. And with it, basically, you can pipe everything together and automate stuff in a way you never could before. And it's really pretty cool. And it's going to be a great quality of life, especially for groups and stuff, but also for players as well, because individuals or small groups will still be able to set this stuff up and then be able to minimize the amount of time they're spending in their base just crafting and smelting things and be able to go out and gather more resources and stuff. So it's going to be really cool to see how this enters the game. And keep in mind, it's still in active development. So even if you read something on our article that says one thing, take it with a grain of salt because all this is actively changing and being balanced. And especially between now and next week when it goes live, I expect a lot more tweaks to happen. And what we're going to do on our end is do our best to keep that article up to date as things do. So it can be a reference point for you and your group as this update goes live next week and you get in there and actually start looking to build your first base and play with some of this stuff. Now, also on top of the industrial stuff, we've got a new flying vehicle coming in the game. Not next week, but it is in progress. And this is the attack helicopter. The idea with this, and we don't have any visuals or specifics, but based on commits and word on the street, is that this attack helicopter is going to be like a mini copter, kind of upgraded with skis instead of wheels. And it will have some sort of offensive capability, so some weaponry on it. So we're keeping an eye on that, but no visuals, no details yet. And once again, not coming next week. Now, what is coming next week is a bunch of other miscellaneous fixes. You can see a full list on rustafied.com, but it's just a bunch of various things like fix the fireplace cooking speed and fix some colliders on powerline tarps so dropped items don't get hidden, and add a item filter on the quarry fuel storage to only accept diesel. Some miscellaneous little quality of life and tweaks like that coming in the game. And then there's also, of course, other projects in process that probably won't come next week, but in the next couple months we'll see, such as a redesign of the compound monument with cobblestone roads and fixes to various, collision issues that appeared over the past year or so. There's also weapon racks being worked on and coming at some point, probably not next week, but we'll keep you posted. So there's some tweaks to pistol animations going on, and this is coming next week as well. And it shouldn't impact players, hopefully, does not impact players at all. But if you are a server owner, know that this multi threaded networking is going live next week. And as a server owner, you are going to need to specify a game port and a query port in your config for your server, and those can no longer share the same port. And a lot of people, I think, do share that port. It's not going to work next week if you do. So there is a write up on rustified.com. If you scroll down to server owner's note on my article today, you can see the details about the changes that you as a server owner will need to do. And fingers crossed, as also a server owner, that this multi-threaded networking shows a improvement to performance, because that is the goal on the server end, and is working well. Because with this networking stuff, as we've seen in the past, if there's glitches or issues with it, it can really cause gameplay on the whole server to go to shit. And really intending that it's a smooth update next week and this multi-threaded stuff is going smooth. And that about does it for what's going on and for a recap. Do we have any other questions coming up?
Yes, we do. Does the electrical furnace produce charcoal?
No, it does not. So the electric furnace, you don't need wood, you just need electricity to smelt the items. But, with that, you don't get the charcoal output.
Can I put ore to the furnace, then to the output of the furnace too?
No, you can't insert ore into the output of a furnace. But if you mean, can you put something into the input, such as ore, and then put the smelted stuff out, then yep, that's exactly what you can do.
Yeah, so you can have a box where you just put all your raw materials in and then hook that up to an adapter and a conveyor, then feed the conveyor. You can even split the conveyor, split it into a couple conveyors and say, just send sulfur to this furnace, just send metal to this furnace. And then from there, once the furnace is smelted, you can, on the other end, hook up a conveyor and an adapter and send the smelted items into either storage for later, or you can even send it straight into an auto crafter to say, turn your sulfur ore into sulfur and then craft that into something else. So, yeah, it's really the sky's the limit as far as what your options are.
As server owners, will we also need to add some convars are part of query port in order to make the new network exchanges effective? Also, is there a way to test the new server configs before they get released?
So you can test them on staging because staging is, I believe, already running the multi-threaded networking stuff. And I believe all you have to set is the query port. It's server.query port. And you just have to make sure that's different than your server.port, if that makes sense. So like the default server port is 28015. And you just want to make sure then, if that's the case, that your query port is set to like 28016. Once again, there's information on the bottom of my article today on rustafied.com about it. Alistair, the developer at one of the great developers at FacePunch, did mention that this might change between now and next week. So if it does, I'll make sure to update this part of my article to address that. But ideally, the only change you really need to make is just go in and set your query port to something different than your server port. And my understanding of it is that should be enough to make this all work. And once again, this ideally is an optimization for servers and subsequently for players as well. If servers are running better, players are going to have a better experience. And what this really should do is allow the whole networking procedure of the game, which is a resource intensive process, to use multiple threads of the CPU core instead of single. And yeah, ideally, this should be much better for performance. But it also, with any changes to networking and the server bases, can cause some issues. Did the stream just go down, or is that just me?
No,
Um,
we're still up.
No, it
no.
just lagged out for a second. Cool. Never mind.
I turned the
uh,
light out, but
Oh yeah,
it's
maybe
showing
that
off
was it.
the stove.
that usually helps. Can you place through a wall if you have window or door frame on both sides of the wall? Example, window, wall, window.
Unfortunately, not. No, I have tried a couple of things, but not so far.
Is it possible to set amount to autocraft?
To set a what to autocraft?
Set an amount,
Oh, I
a
see.
specific amount, yeah.
You can, but you can't literally specify how much the crafter should cost, but you can specify how many items are in the output. So you could say, I only want to craft 12. So if there's 12, then stop outputting, basically.
And that would be with the conveyor filters, correct?
That's correct, yep.
Yeah.
Do the pipes, oh
Sorry.
yeah. No, you go.
Oh, yeah, wait. So if I was to add med here, so the max here, it says stop transferring once we have this many of the item in the target container. So if you want to just fill it up, you can set it to 0 and it will just keep filling it up as long as it can. But if you wanted, for instance, to only have, 12 meds in the box or so, then you could set that to 12. And once there were 12 in the box, it wouldn't output anymore. The only thing with this being that it would still craft these here. If it had the resources, it just wouldn't output them.
And I feel like maybe another way to do this would be putting the filter on the conveyor going in, on the resources going in potentially, but
Yeah, you could do that too, but you'd only be able to then, the output for the resources going in is the crafter and not the output box. So that's why, yeah.
Do the pipes still go through vending machines?
Good question, let's test.
And while we're testing, I want to address one thing with the servers, and that is the hacking situation in the game. And let's just call a spade here. The hacking situation in the game is fucking ridiculous. If you looked at the dev blog for this month, the surviving 10 years, you can see that over 800,000 accounts were banned for hacking last year alone. So if you extrapolate that out, that's like 2,000 plus new hacking accounts a day on average entering the game. And we run some of the most popular servers in the game. So even conservative estimates have it, several hundred fresh hacker accounts coming into our servers every day. And so with that, I realized, man, it's like putting a forest fire out with a garden hose. It's just crazy. So what we've been working on for several weeks, and we're still tweaking it and we're improving it, but we're working on this in-house anti-cheat system that will help us catch hackers quicker. And part of that is going to involve just if it's a new account on a VPN and it looks suspect, it's probably just going to get rid of the person. And so we're going to tweak this. It's inevitable that we might have some false positives, but really our goal here is to get rid of hackers as quickly as possible, even get rid of hackers before they even fully load into the game, because we're trying to detect cheats while they're loading into the game. I'm not going to go into any more specifics because, of course, this is a cat and mouse game back and forth always. But it is just to tell you, players on our servers in particular, that we know the hacker situation is a problem and we're doing everything we can to address it. I do hope also that EAC and Facepunch and VAC uh, continue to make improvements and do things to combat this situation. I know they are constantly working on it as well. And let's just say there's definite room for improvement there. But also, in lieu of that, what we're doing internally just for Rustafied servers is really ramping up the aggressive nature of getting rid of hackers. And it's also a warning to you if you play on a VPN, if you've got a new account and it's set to private or Steam level 0 or some shit like that, you may get banned on our servers because literally the hacker situation is so bad now that even if we had a full-time staff 24/7 of 100 people always on, which we don't because we're just an independent organization and we rely on volunteers to moderate these servers. We don't have the budget to pay full-time people all the time to moderate these servers. Even if we did have all that, it would be impossible to load in the server and you know spectate these people and all this stuff because it's just such a problem. So we are doing what we can over here, and that looks like turning the knobs up, getting much more aggressive with the bans that we do, and just getting rid of suspect accounts before they have an opportunity to go and fuck up people's gameplay. So I did just want to share that with you all. I am aware that the hacker situation, it's always been a problem, but it's really bad now. And with Facepunch just coming out and saying, oh yeah, we banned 800,000 accounts last year alone. It's like, holy fuck, that's a problem. So we're doing what we can. We're tweaking things. If you do happen to get banned and you're a legit player, just please put a ticket in and we'll look closer at your situation. But just to say to all of our players, I know it's a problem and we're ramping stuff up. And we also have another great onboarding class of new moderators. We've got like over 10 new moderators coming in. We're actively training them and they should be rocking and rolling for February. But we've also got a lot of stuff on the back end that we're actively developing, tweaking, and ramping up to get rid of these fucking hackers before they ruin your time. So thank you for your patience on that. And I know it's so frustrating, especially in this game. It's like one thing if people are hacking in Counter-Strike, you'll like lose a round or something. But man, you put a weekend into building a base and all this shit, and then a hacker comes in and ruins it in a couple minutes. Holy cow. It's like, it's bad. So just let you know, we know it's an issue and we are doing everything we can and we're tweaking things to improve it. So thank you for your understanding and patience.
And just from you saying that, one was just asking, what does it take to be a mod on your servers?
Oh, you can go to rustified.com/apply and apply to be a moderator. We have the requirements there. It's you need to be 18 years or older, and there's certain standards that we hold people to. We are very particular about who we let moderate our servers because, of course, we run some of the most popular servers, and admin abuse and everything like that. If we just gave random people moderator, that could be a real problem. So we are very particular, but definitely go to rustafied.com/apply and you can see some of the requirements and also fill out a form to apply there. And thank you for expressing interest, and to everyone who, has expressed interest in it, because yeah, we really do want to run the best servers that we can. And I really think that the hacker situation is the biggest problem in the game right now. And so we're really ramping it up to try to address it as best we can.
Isn't there a drone coming that you can fly?
Yeah, the drone, it's the RC drone. And now I was originally thinking this RC drone was going to be for like reconnaissance and stuff, but it looks like based on the commits from the other week, it's actually going to be tied into the auto turrets. And so the auto turret laser is going to be kind of zoomed up and amplified. And based on the commits, it sounds like the drone, you'll be able to pop it up in the air and fly it. And the crosshair of the drone is actually going to be the auto turret laser, and I believe from that, you'll be able to fire the auto turret from the drone. So you'll actually be able to remote control the auto turrets and with the drone and then fire upon people as you see fit. So an exciting new functionality that it's going to be very interesting to test out and see how it works in actuality. But all that being said, it is still a work in progress, and I don't believe will come for the update next week. Maybe in March we'll see it. But as always, with all this stuff, we'll have more information on this update stream and on Rustafied.com as soon as it is in a testable state.
Is there any server performance slash updates?
Really, the big thing as far as performance is concerned is this networking switchover, and that's the multi-threaded networking. It's actually a two-step process as it's turning out to be. There's step one in February, the multi-threaded networking is coming through, and that allows for multiple CPU cores to process the arduous task of all the networking stuff going on in the background, which should help improve performance. The concern, of course, is that if there's an issue with the networking, then it can have things like everyone in the server gets kicked or things like that, or it can also backfire and cause performance to go completely to crap. But I am, trusting in the devs that they will only launch this multi-threaded stuff if it is ready to go. And it is, as it stands, slated to go live next week. If that changes, I'll let you know. If you are a server owner, do look at the bottom of my post today on rustified.com. You do need to set a query port. It does need to be different than your normal server port as of this update next week. Otherwise, no one will be able to connect to your servers. And then also step two of that process is switching from RackNet over to Steam networking. Now that's looking like it's going to happen in March. And that ideally also shows, an improvement to performance and everything. So that's the best I know what's going on in optimization and performance realm now.
Did they change the AK recoil?
No, we haven't seen any recent changes to the AK recoil since the PvP update late last year.
And I see Artemis is just trying pipes through ladder hatch. That was a question too, so that's good you're testing it.
Yeah, for
Cool.
sure. Good question. And yeah, straight through.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I'll make sure to add that to our article too, that it can go through ladder hatches as well. Great question.
So are they adding features to organize your boxes automatically?
Yeah, well, you could say the industrial system allows you to organize your boxes automatically through the conveyors and the filters on the conveyors. You can set up a system and the splitters as well, the splitters and combiners. Using all those new industrial items, you can basically set up a couple of drop boxes where you drop whatever the hell you want in at the, say, front of your base. And then those could feed through a storage adapter, and then conveyors with filters. You could send them deep into the loot room of your base and organize them into specific boxes to say only stones go here, only metal goes here, and things like that.
When are they going to fix the glitches with boxes through terrain?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I'm not aware of any work being done on that at the moment.
I think that's about it.
Okay, cool. Well, and with that, we are at about an hour. So I think it's a perfect time to wind down here. I do want to thank everyone, as always, for tuning in. We are an independent organization, uh, just run by fans of the game like you. And really, we love just reporting on development news and running the best servers that we can. And the only way that we can do that is through the support of the community. So, to everyone who tunes in and watches, to people who give bits and subscribe on Twitch, and to our loyal, wonderful VIP customers, thank you so much for the support, because literally we wouldn't be able to run the servers that we do and show up every week and report on development news like we do if it wasn't for that support from the community. So thank you all so much. A huge thank you as well to my co-MCs, Artemis and Miss D. Thank you.
You're welcome. And also, just a quick one. He said it was not the boxes, it was nodes going through uh, terrain.
Yeah, I kind of figured that's what you meant. Actually, I should have clarified because I did kind of pick up on that's what you meant, and that's all part of the proc gen, the procedural map generation, and that is being tweaked here and there, every couple months. But it seems like that's a tough nut to crack. So I don't know. I don't know if that will be fixed anytime soon.
That's it. So,
Awesome, wonderful. And also to anyone who wants more information on this industrial system, do check out rustified.com. Look for the link that says to the industrial system overview. And that's an article, we've updated it, and I'm going to keep updating it with the crafting information and information about all this new industrial stuff. So use that as a reference between now and when the update comes out, if you like. And also, we will be back next week to show you everything going on in Rust development and everything coming in the update next week. Once again, February 2nd at 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. GMT is when the update is expected to go live. We'll be here streaming at 1 p.m. Eastern, an hour before the update, to show off everything and answer any questions you may have. And yeah, we'll leave it at that. In the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week and a wonderful wipe. And this is Bugs signing off.